so much. I am delighted to be able to come and share a few moments with you and deliver my personal congratulations. I had an opportunity to briefly look at almost all of the videos, and I just want to tell you just how inspiring it was for me and for our team to see all the work that is going on around the country. Because, truly, we do live in a bubble here in the White House. You see me on TV, but that's when they let me out, But otherwise, I'm like roaming around these parts, so, But, sometimes it is difficult for us to really know whether all the work that we're doing is really translating and resonating on the ground. We get great letters, and my team gets good feedback, and we can always tell when we get a good response to a challenge like this. But the videos gave me an opportunity to see what you all are seeing every day, and that is that people are actually listening, and they're hungry for information and an opportunity to transform their lives. They are welcoming of this new information. They're hungry for guidance and direction. And the fact that this is happening in communities and in faith communities across this country is so powerful, because as you know, we are starting to see some change. We're starting to see some movement on this issue, and I think for all the folks who have been working on this issue for so long, what you knew could happen is happening. That if you gave people the tools and the information and the support and the guidance and the encouragement, that if you didn't deliver the message with judgment but with love, if you made the message relevant to their lives, if you tied the key interest to children, because we will do for our children what we will not do for ourselves. That was the whole premise of really starting this issue with children. It's not that we're not dealing with an obesity epidemic throughout the country. It's just that grown-ups, we're hard-headed. And it is difficult the older you get to make change. It's just, habits die hard. But with kids, our kids, once we find out that, our habits are impacting our kids in a negative way, our hearts just open to the new information. We're willing to do whatever it takes to make their lives better. And there is nothing more important than what you all are doing at the community level. Just let me tell you, I might be the temporary face of this issue. I might be able to bring some more national attention, but truly change doesn't happen up here. And I know that as a mother. That's why I come to this issue so cautiously, because, I know that it is up to me and the choices that I make, how that affects my kids, So what you guys are doing on the ground, the day-to-day work in churches and communities and Ys all throughout this country, it will make the difference. That is how change happens. We think it's the policies and the politics and the congressional stuff that goes on. That's not it. That's not it. We can move things. We can, implement new nutrition standards in our schools. Yes, we can do that, and that is important, and put new resources to it. We can advocate for more physical activity in our classrooms. We can work with large food producers to, make buying the healthy option easier and more affordable. We can get grocery stores to open up in underserved communities, but the truth is that we as parents, we as faith leaders, we as congregation members, we as community activists are the ones that people are listening to every single day. People come to church looking for the answer. They're looking for guidance. They're looking for hope. They're looking just to be told. They trust you. They trust your judgment. They trust your interest. So I can talk all I want, but it's you are the ones that people will actually pay attention to. So watching this magnificent work, seeing the kids dancing and moving and gobbling down their vegetables and is just, it keeps us going here. It really keeps us going, and I am so proud of all of you. But we still have a lot of work to do. These are small changes that we're seeing, and we still are seeing disparities in the African American and Latino communities. And this is something that we have to understand, that, these communities are in more underserved areas. They are struggling with safe streets in ways that other communities aren't. They're dealing with schools with very limited resources. Whatever's going on in the broader community, it's harder in the Latino and African American communities. We all know this. So it shouldn't be surprising that the progress is going to lag a bit, but we shouldn't accept that. That means we have to work harder. We have to figure out how to structure the messages so that we are resonating within all these communities. We got to figure out what more can we say. Where do we need to say it? Where do I need to stand? Tell me where to go. And I'm going to be looking to all of you for that continued guidance, because we don't have all the answers. I certainly know. I am humble enough to know that I am but a small cog in the wheel of change. And this progress has to keep going long after Barack and I are gone. This is a generational goal. This is going to take us a while, because these messages that our kids are getting when they're 4 and 5, kids who are finally starting to eat vegetables on a regular basis, their palates are starting to change. I'm curious about what these kids will be like when they're headed to college and they start raising their kids. That's when we'll be able to really see the change. So we can't get discouraged by the bumps and the bruises along the way, by the naysayers, the critics, the skeptics. That's just part of change. But we have to keep moving, and we have to keep building on the work that we're doing. So I implore you to keep reaching out in your communities, to find other community activists, other faith leaders, other churches, other synagogues, other whatever. Find them and pull them in, because I can't be everywhere. Barack can't be everywhere. But the more soldiers we have on the ground, the more we can get done. And we shouldn't be satisfied until all of our kids have these options. That's how Barack and I think about this stuff. It is not enough that our kids are eating well. It is not enough that our children go to a school where they have PE and we can afford to put them in sports programs, so they're getting the exercise they need. It's not important. It's not just enough that Malia and Sasha Obama are okay. It was never enough. That's why we're here. We can't rest until all of our kids have an equal playing field, and it just doesn't take that much. It just takes us being a little selfless and a lot more demanding, and not willing to give up, when the going gets tough. We have to fight for all kids like we would fight for our kids, every step of the way. And you guys are laying that foundation, and it makes us feel good. It really does. So I'm glad you all had the opportunity to come to the White House and spend some time with us. I really am. I know the big snowstorm. Big snowstorm kept us at bay. But we shoveled out. So we're happy that you put up with our mini crisis here in the district, but I hope that you got good information from our team, that you learned more about what we're doing, that you had an opportunity to meet one another and to share successes and best practices, because that's also one of the reasons why we like to get you guys together, so you can see each other. Because in the same way that I draw inspiration from seeing all of you, I know that you draw inspiration from seeing each other. So you know that you're not alone in your battle. Wherever you are in your state, in your community, in your town, in your church, you're not alone. There are a lot of people who really understand that this issue is real, but understand more importantly that we have full control over change. This isn't something where we need science You know, we're not waiting for a cure. We don't need to spend millions of dollars to do genetic research. You know, in some instances, obesity has genetic links, but in so many, it has to do with the choices that we make, the opportunities that we give to our kids, the information that we give to our parents and our communities, the support we give them as they struggle with what is not an easy thing to do, which is change the way you live and eat. Even if it's in minor ways, it is not an easy thing to do. So we have the answers, you know, and that's one of the reasons why this issue has meant so much to me, because this is something we can fix. You know, we have the power, and that's what we want our kids to understand. If we want them to be successful, we have to teach them how to have full control over the one thing that they truly own, which is themselves, their bodies, their health, their minds. When I talked to the kids in Chicago, one of the things I told them is that, you know, the only difference between me and about 6,000 kids from Chicago where we were dancing and singing were the choices that we made. Because I grew up like them, in public schools with limited resources, you know, in a working class community, grew up in a house with a small bedroom that I share with my brother. We didn't have money, we didn't have resources, my parents didn't go to college, they didn't have connections. But the thing that separated me from most kids, and what kids have to understand, are the choices they make. And we have to give them the power to understand that the only difference between them and greatness is hard work. And it's not the school you go to, or the parents you have, or the circumstances that you're in. If you believe in your own heart and soul that you have the power to make these choices, we do live in a country, fortunately, where every child can go to school. We do live in a country where every child can rise above their circumstances. But we have to really help them understand that. And that's, again, where you come in, because they're talking to you all every day. They see me every now and then, you know. So I'm going to be out there. I'm going to keep working hard. And I'm just happy you all are working side by side with me. So with that, they're going to shove me off to the next meeting. But thank you guys. Very proud of you.